Hello, I'm Gage
And I'm Winston, the world's fastest turtle.
and this is the Investigation Station. Today, we have the question, how does gravity work? From Josh. And for those of you who don't know, gravity is this. It's why things fall down instead of up toward the sky. Now, this is a very good question, Josh, but in order to answer it, we are going to have to build a ring to help us visualize gravity. And here it is, our gravity ring. This is going to help us understand how gravity works.
Well, hold on. How's it supposed to do that?
You'll see. See how it bent there? Space, like this cloth, will bend when it comes into contact with something with mass. What has mass? Everything that takes up space. So, when two things with mass get close to each other, the way that space bends causes them to fall into each other. Now, something bigger will make something smaller move a lot easier than something smaller makes something bigger move. Now, if an object already has some speed built up when it comes across the warping of this fabric, it will keep that speed when it starts to fall into the other object's gravitational field, which means it'll start to make a ring around the other object. Now, does that remind you of anything?
I think it looks like planets orbiting the sun.
That's what I think of too. In fact, the word orbit just means circular track. Now, from that association, is there anything else you want to try?
Well, what if there are two big objects, like having two suns?
Now that's gonna change how the orbit works. You might be able to make a figure 8.
Wow, do any asteroids move like that between the planets in our solar system?
No, it doesn't really seem like it. See, on this ring, the marble will lose some of its energy running across the fabric. But in actual space, you don't have a lot to hit to lose energy into. So if this were in actual space, what you'd actually make is some kind of planet catapult. In fact, there are a few different planets in our solar system which have this catapult effect. And it's one of the reasons that life is able to be on Earth at all, because it keeps dangerous stuff away from us. Well, is there anything else you'd like to try?
Can we make multiple marbles orbit the same object? Like the same way that there are a lot of planets around our sun? Or would it be possible to make something orbit something else? You know, the same way that the moon orbits us while we orbit the sun?
I think that's a good idea. Let's go ahead and try it.
When we look at the planets, why do they all look like they're going the same way?
Well, they didn't always. See, way back in the past, there used to be some objects going one way and other objects going the other way. Over time, some objects bumped into each other, and at the end, they only stopped bumping into each other once there weren't any objects left going the other way to hit. An even bigger example of this effect would be Saturn's rings. If you look really close, the rings are just a whole bunch of moons, all going the same direction around the planet as a whole, kind of like in our example here. Now hopefully, this demonstrates why things fall into each other. Now we should also keep in mind that gravity isn't just something that affects the big things like asteroids, moons, and planets. Everything has gravity, even us. We just don't feel our own gravity because the Earth's gravity is so much bigger.
Gage, if gravity pulls things together like magnets, is there something else that might push them apart like the other side of a magnet?
That's a really good question, Winston. On our ring, it would look something like this.
Are there any parts of space that are like that in real life?
Now, unfortunately, I don't know if anything like that exists in real life. And from what I've been able to find, it doesn't look like there's an answer to your question yet.
What? But I thought scientists knew everything!
Not quite. Science isn't just a bunch of facts. It's also a process. And it's a lot easier to ask questions than it is to find answers. So there's always gonna be a few questions that we just don't know the answer to.
So, what does that mean for us?
Well, I think it's exciting. The fact that there are questions we don't know the answer to means we never have to stop learning. There's always something else out there for us to see.
Okay, then for my question, that means...
That's right, you can be the one who figures it out. That's all the time we've got for today, so until next time,
remember that repetition and discussion are both important parts of learning, so feel free to rewatch the episode or to talk to somebody else about what you learned here today. And stay curious!